on, people? Proof here. And today I'm bringing you I'm bringing you brand new recruit reports. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to split up the reveals, if there's multiple reveals going on, into separate videos. That way it's a little more digestible, especially because if a video goes long, I don't want you to leave without finishing it up. So I definitely want to put it into better bite-sized pieces. So I'm going to do one card per video, but I'm bringing you two videos, and this being the first one. And today I'm going to be featuring our boy, the avatar, my avatar, great hero, Rising Supernova. The boy is here. Excuse me. And I'm here with my brand new notebook. That's not brand new. I just couldn't find it initially, but your boy got copious notes going on in here. Bevy, voluminous notes going on in here. And so what I'm going to do, as always, I'm going to break down the card and then talk about some things that came to mind when I was researching it. I ain't stopped swiveling in this chair. But I digress. But talk about the card, give my feelings, my interpretations about some things that I thought about, and then hope you guys enjoy it. And before I start, I want to give a big shout out to Nitro, Rydria, and Elliot Gale from Pojo for helping me proxy test out the new cars that have been coming out lately to help me get a better understanding for this. So I'll give you guys the best information that I could on this. So without further ado, for our boy, Rising Supernova, I love the artwork, by the way. He's rushing down the field, destroying lives and crushing people and just going in for that touchdown. I love it. But for his skill, which is what you guys are truly here for, he says, Auto Vanguard, choose a face down card from your G zone and turn it face up. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to the same number of your rear guards as the number of face up Rising Supernovas in your G zone, and they become charging. Excuse me. And if the number of your rear guards that are charging are 4 or more, all your units get plus 10,000 power until the end of turn. And you can make units become charging that don't normally have charge, such as Misery, for example. Excuse me, throat's dry. Excuse me. And so I'm just gonna go in whichever order the thoughts flow to me. But the first thing that everybody's pointed out that I saw is that he's a free flip, which leads to quite a few things. Firstly, it's a costless skill. It sets up for second strike Picaro more easily than having to use Blizza or Miracle Ace. And he helps for the effect of doing so. He pretty much, in a way, he kind of equals out to what Rising Nova stride skill already does if you choose to play a card from your hand onto the field. Because if you think about it, you're already going to convert a card from your hand for Rising's stride skill. So it's pretty much an equivalency of that when it comes to his Persona Flip, but technically you're going to be Persona Flipping it for his other ability to put everybody in charge on your second stride turn. And so going back to the notes, force discharge on things is really good for on-hit abilities such as the Cobalts, the Lethal Forwards of the world. Excuse me. It gives Full Speed Spectre a lot of viability now, because the big issue with him was he costs a counterblast to do it, and most of your skills already cost you a counterblast to call something out to put him in a charge state. But since he does it for you by the flip, you can have a Full Speed Spectre on the board already, and then put him in a charging, and then just pay the cost to have him attack from the back row. Excuse me again. Let's see. I saw people, when I was reading through the comments to gather information, people were saying how he couldn't act as a finisher, and I disagree with that, because in my testing, when worst come to worst and you can't do Miracle Ace, if you second stride Supernova and you put your hand onto the field and have enough to put the units in charging, you definitely have the ability to push your opponent from 4 damage to 0 with that extra 10,000 power. So I definitely think he has potential as a finisher, But he also has a lot of usefulness as a utility to help set up for Miracle Ace, because I'm gonna go through some plays in a little bit that I thought about and see. Shout out my peoples from Pojo. When it comes to some units that he combos well with, these are some of the plays I was thinking about. He works really well with Air Force Eliza that I featured in a previous recruiting report, because what she does, her skill is after the unit and that's in charging, that she boosts a charging unit, you can counterblast to bind and call the unit back out into another open circle or into a open circle, which gives a lot of utility to the likes of Double Watch to get a double counter charge, or not counter, but another soul charge in. It combos well with Lethal Forward for on hit pressure. It combos really well with Cobalt Impulse for unhit pressure. It, he loves to combine, or she loves to combine with Dobe to be able to attack for 33 and then another 21 or 28 if you have a booster on top of that. Like, it really helps out the synergy with Eliza to make her a really strong common card to have in your deck if she makes the final deck list. Because there's some combos that I did to help utilize the first, or not first try, but help facilitate Miracle Ace to put enough cards in the soul to help take some pressure off of having the need to call out Double Watch over and over again. So I can put more pressure on my opponent by calling out some of the bigger buffer cards along the way, such as your Heave Wheezes, your Lethals, all those cards as well, to help facilitate finishing the game off. So what I'm getting at with all that is he has great flexibility in terms of what he's able to provide for the clan over time, in my opinion. So I definitely like that. I know people were disappointed given what he does, but I could see the potential here, because he's like a couple cards away from being a really consistent, powerful first stride. And there's already plays you can do on your first stride with him to help push your opponent over the top. But if there's ever an easier method to be able to get 2 units in charging for his 10k, because you already get 2 guaranteed, one off of Rising Over Stride skill and one off of his flip. Excuse me. And so all you need is the ability to put 2 more units in charge to call out to get power to the rest of the team. And the only feasible way to do that right now is through the use of Axe Diver. Because, well, imagine with me, you have a unit to the side, you have your Vanguard, and you have nothing over here. Say if you call out, say, Double Watch into the front while you have Mecha Coach in the back behind your Vanguard. If you call out Axe Diver and pay the cost, and you bind Double Watch and call it back out, he's now in charge. So all you need to do is put another charge unit behind Double Watch, and then after Double Watch attacks, you then use Mecha Coach to push him into the soul, and then you bind the column there, ideally with you have a grade 1 like Eliza behind Double Watch. So you call them out so you put 1 behind Vanguard, you put 1 in the back row of the empty slot. So then you attack and you use Rising Nova Stride skill to call out another unit. So now he has charge. The 2 in the back have charge because they're charge units. So when you call them back out, you put them back in the charge state. And then with the flip from Supernova, you now give something else charge, either the Axe Diver that's in front or the thing that's behind it if it's a charge unit. So now you have 4 units in charge. Now you have the whole team get plus 10,000. Which really powerful right there. The issue is that the resources that it costs you to have to do that can be a lot, because you need to have the pieces in hand. So and since it works best with Double Watch, you need to have Double Watch in hand. Otherwise, it's going to cost you 2 counter blasts, I believe, because you need one for Axe Diver, one for Rising Nova Stride skill. So you need at least 2 counterblasts to do it. So it's decent, but it also means you have to have Mecha Coach on the field. So you're either giving up Mecha Trainer as your starter, which can hurt consistency down the way. Because I tried Mecha Coach out a couple times, and there were times when I was missing a Rising Nova, and I didn't have the means to use a Mecha Trainer to get Acrobat Verity out. So that hurts as well. Or you have to put into the main deck as a 1 or a 2 of with Mecha Trainer. So then you're potentially limiting what Mecha Trainer can search for if you want to go for this particular first stride play, while also eliminating some other cards from your deck that could help you out in the long run as well. So there's positives and negatives for it, but it's the point I'm getting at that it's potentially possible, or it's definitely possible to be able to pull off the first stride play if you want to go that route. I say it could be worth it. It could be worth it. And I haven't done enough testing of it myself, because the times I tried Mecha Coach, it flopped on its face really bad, and I had a bad taste in my mouth from it. So I was like, forget about it for now. But I definitely plan on revisiting it in the future. And let's see. Some other things is it helps give non-rising focus decks the ability to be able to use Lyre Lips now, because he has the name Rising. So you'll be able to push Lyre Lips into Soul and get your draw off of it. So that's really helpful as well. And being able to put unit in charge could be relevant for your Dobes or your Heat Weezes that might populate your Bad In or your Jessica decks if you have them in there. Let's see what we got. As for G-Zone space, there's easily space in here for 4 of them. But you're going to have to give up either having 2 Picaro, you have to go down to 1 Picaro. Excuse me. You have to go down to 1 Picaro, we have to go down to 4 G-Guardians. And I personally like having 5 in there for the not consistency, but the options to be able to utilize them. But since you have to give up a spot for Seabreeze, and if you want to make space, you have to give up something else. So give up 1, gain 1. Which, if you choose to, that's definitely well. Or you can give up 2 Miracle Ace. But I personally don't feel comfortable with that, because I know how strong Miracle Ace can be, and I like having it there just in case I need to go double on the Miracle Ace turns. But now, since we have him available, he's definitely possible as a good viable finishing target, like I mentioned previously. So we'll see. I haven't done a lot of testing without 4 Miracle Ace to make space for him, and it all depends on what other G-Guard, or not G-Guards, but G-Units we get in the future as well. Let's see. And I think the last thing I want to mention before I get to a rating on this is what this could mean for the future of the clan, because this card here could lend itself to being more focused on shifting away from Miracle Ace, like I mentioned before. And I've fought with this, because the stuff that will make Rising Supernova better will conversely make Miracle Ace better, because if they want to support Rising Supernova, and since he's a first stride viable target, that will make your first stride better to push your opponent to higher damage to make Miracle Ace be able to finish him just as well. So you now have branching strategies, not branch, but you have 2 different roads you could take depending on the support that they give to our boy here, which means you have a really strong first stride turn and then followed up with a really strong finishing turn. But that could also mean you want to take away some Miracle Ace in some capacity and put more charge units and have less Frog Raiders and Miseries in your deck list, because you have the other options available with the other charge units. So I could definitely see there being a focus going away from Miracle Ace some, but there also could be some intermingling there with all the stuff that could be revealed. So it's an interesting time. Ever since the tech boost came out, there's been like clear-cut defined strategies between the big 3 of the clan. But now you have potentially what's developing is that there's going to be a branch within the charge base of one that's going to be more towards Rising Supernova, and one that could be more dedicated to consistency of Miracle Ace. Or I could just be not completely wrong, but there could also just be a merging together of the thoughts that I'm having, and then there's going to be like one clear cut deck to be made with these cards, since they all kind of mingle together of being a charge base. So I know I ramble, but I hope it makes some type of sense. And this also is coming off of preliminary stuff that we have, and we don't have everything available just yet. And in terms of a rating for Supernova, I give him a really, really solid 3.5 out of 5. And that's mostly becoming off of potential, and because all we've seen so far is a handful of common cards and lethal forward, which is likely to be double rare in the set. So there's a lot of growth potential here for Supernova, because if suddenly we have a card that helps facilitate charge on for his first stride turn, his potential and his viability and everything surrounding him just shoots up through the roof. Then all of a sudden, your opponent has to fear staring down 10k charge units that can nuke everything or push them to damages that they won't be able to recover from, and then you finish them off with a Miracle Ace or a second Rising Supernova turn. So I think he's going to be really strong, and I see the potential there, and he already has some really strong first stride targets available. And so there's only up from here, in my opinion. So hope you guys enjoyed. Look out for the next recruit report that's going to be coming out soon after this one drops. And until next time, peace. Be easy.